Hello, welcome to today's video. This is going to be something completely different for me. Before I get into the video, please just ignore the fact that the sun's in and out. It doesn't know what it's doing today, so if it suddenly goes really bright, I do apologise, but I've been waiting for the sun to go in to film this video and it's just not doing it, so I'm getting on with it. But as I say, yeah, this is going to be totally different to anything I've done before, and I actually thought of this from my Instagram story. I was talking yesterday about Julia Donaldson books, and today I'm going to be basically like recommending Julia Donaldson books for young families, because obviously a lot of my followers have got young kids, or you might be planning on having a family, and I just thought I would do a little sit down video chatting all about our Julia Donaldson collection, some of our personal recommendations. We have been reading Julia Donaldson books to our two children basically for most of their life, for the last 2 years. So Elliot is 3.5 and Jasper is 2. So yeah, basically we've been reading Julia Donaldson to them for most of their lives, and I just wanted to sit down and chat with you basically all about the collection, why you should, if you don't already. I'm guessing that you probably do because they're very well known, but I just thought I would chat about some of our recommendations and why they are such fantastic books for your family to have. So let's get straight into it. This is going to be quite a casual one, just a bit of a chatty video for anyone with young families. So if you don't already know, which you probably do, I think even people without children would know The Gruffalo. It's very well known. It is Julia Donaldson's probably best known book. I think it's the one that's made her the most famous. So we have got this one, obviously. But I must say, this isn't even really one of the boys' favourite books, but I thought I would just start off with the fact that this is probably Julia Donaldson's most well-known book. If you don't even have kids, you probably will have heard of The Gruffalo. And then you've got The Gruffalo's Child as well, which my children prefer this one to the original Gruffalo. So yeah, that is her most well-known piece of work. And the reason that her books are so brilliant for very small children is the fact that even from babies practically, like Elliot was only just over a year, and then we would read, like, because Jasper had an older brother, he's always grown up with us reading them. But the reason that they are so good is because of the illustrations. They are illustrated by Axel Scheffler, I think that's how you say it. Most of them. I think some of her books do have other illustrators, but in general they are illustrated by him. And I think that they kind of, I'm not sure if this is true, but they work together in the kind of story making and the illustrations. So there's so many lovely illustrations, and that is obviously important. It's obviously important for very small children when they're following stories in the early days. So they're all really nicely illustrated. They're very bright. They're very quirky as well. So we've got Zog here, another one of the boys' like favourite ones. I'm not so keen on Zog actually. I prefer some of the other stories, but my boys do like Zog. So yeah, they're very quirky, and another reason that they're really good for very young children is because they're rhyming stories, and they all kind of have a bit of a pattern to the rhymes. Like it's very not repetitive, sort of repetitive is what you'd say. So it's kind of an easy way to get your child to learn like those words or learn the story. This is one that I really like. The Snail and the Whale. That one's a really beautiful book. I like that one a lot. Another one of my favourites, and the boys are obsessed with it at the minute, is Room on the Broom. Love Room on the Broom. So yeah, as I say, they're just really easy for young children, and I think they're just like, as a parent, when you're reading like baby books, they're just not that interesting, but even you can get on board with like reading these books to your children because they're fun, they're quirky, especially if you put on like, as they get older, especially like with toddlers, if you put on like silly voices, it's just a bit more engaging for your children. So that is why they're just so good, and especially like even if your children are really young, there's no reason why you can't start reading them. And you can probably tell from the size of them, they're not just like really, really short books. I'd say if you sit down and read them, it probably takes you between 10 to 15 minutes to read them. So it's like quite a good amount of time for young children. It's not too short, it's not too long, because obviously they're going to stop and look at the pictures and stuff like that. So we've got Superworm here. So I just think that they're really engaging because of the bright colours, the lovely illustrations, the rhyming, and it just gets them so familiar with the story because they've got that kind of repetitive feel to them. But in it's not boring, it doesn't ever feel like mundane reading them. We've got another one here, Monkey Puzzle. So as you can see, we've got a very, I think we've got most of them for the boys, and they have just always really liked them. They always sit down and listen, especially if you are making it particularly fun and quirky, because they are really funny and quirky stories. And another reason that they are so good for young families is because they're pretty much good for girls, boys, if you've got a mixture of both. Obviously I've got 2 boys, but if you had a boy and a girl, they're not really gender specific. Anyone can enjoy these. They're also enjoyable for you as a parent, as I say, because you just don't feel like they're too mundane. They're quite funny and they're quite amusing for you. So I always quite enjoy reading these books most of the time. I do have my favourite, like I say, there's some that I don't like as much, but my boys do like them, so I have to get on and read them anyway. So that is why they're just really useful for young families. Another thing that I wanted to touch upon is the fact that a lot of these have been made into film adaptations, like short film. They're 25 minutes. You can see here this one says as seen on TV. So they've got about 10 short films of the novel, like the little books. And you might be thinking, what has a film or a television got to do with story time? But basically, I really rate the TV shows as well. Obviously, screen time is a bit of a taboo subject for parents, but I feel like if you're showing them a TV version of a book that you're reading to them every night, the beauty of that is that they are learning the story so much more. And honestly, my children's speech has come on leaps and bounds since they've been, like I say, Room on the Broom, take this for example. They watch this every day at the minute, and then I will read it to them. They want it read to them before bed as well. And my son, my eldest son, who's 3.5, he can narrate chunks of this book now. And also Jasper, who is 2 and a bit, he knows loads and loads of words in this book. And I feel like the screen adaptations just bring another dimension to the story. They just bring it to life a little bit more. They're beautifully illustrated, there's lovely music, lots of famous actors are voicing the characters, and they just add that next level to the book. So in this one, on Room on the Broom, there's the cat. And so in the film adaptation, the cat is they bring the cat's personality to life, and the boys really like that. They think that's really funny. So every time one of the other characters wants to get on the broom, the cat's shaking its head, and my boys think that's really funny. So whenever we read the storybook, and we get to that part where they're asking, is there room on the broom for a bird like me? Elliot he remembers the film, and then he's pretending to be the cat, and he's shaking his head. And it just kind of brings another layer to the book that is fun and engaging for your children, especially if they're more like toddlers. If they're really young, obviously this is not so applicable, but they love the TV adaptations, and it just makes them even more enthusiastic for when you read it to them, which I think is really nice to have that kind of screen time that's also linked to story time and a part of their evening routine and a winding down. They're not majorly stimulating TV shows for them to watch, if that makes sense. So honestly, the films, I don't know if they're films or television, I'm going to call them films, they're little short films. They are just the perfect touch to if you have loads of the books. So I just think that has really helped my boys in their speech coming along. They're getting to know the books, and obviously all those things are really important. So I just thought I would mention the fact that they are available as well. You can get all of those on Amazon Prime. There's loads of free ones on there, but a couple of them you have to pay for. They've recently, a couple of years ago, done Superworm, so I bought that one for £7 or £8 so that they can watch that, and they are really beautifully animated on the telly. And like I say, it just gives them another level of the characters, and it just makes them enjoy the story even more, which is really, really nice. So they are some of our collections that we've got that we would recommend. So like I say, the Gruffalo is the most well-known one, but my boys' favourites at the minute are Room on the Broom, definitely would recommend getting that if you haven't already. The Snail, like I say, I love this one, The Snail and the Whale, and the adaptation of that is really nice too, so I like that one. Superworm is quite good if you've got little boys, like, and as well they're quite educational in the sense of, like, this one for example, like all the creatures, like garden creatures that you'd see in your garden anyway, so whenever we were like out in the garden in the summer, I'd be referring to the Superworm book, and quite a lot of the stories have got like kind of like a moral to them as well, like a bit of a message, which is also really good. They show them empathy. And also another thing, I don't mean to keep going back to the like adaptations, but it's also kind of, because I said that it brings the story to life a little bit more, so like it's showing my boys empathy, so, and also the book as well, but when they're kind of seeing it animated, it's even more so. So like they'll say, what's wrong with okay, so in the Flying Doctors, when Princess Pearl is held hostage by her uncle, and you can see that she's like frustrated, and my boys are like, what's wrong with Pearl? So they're kind of like looking, they're trying to like work out what's wrong with her, so it's a good way to kind of teach empathy and like how other people are feeling. So I feel like they're really valuable books, and also a little bit of screen time as well, just to add that other level of the story to them. So I think I've touched upon basically everything I wanted to. I know it's a little bit of a random one, but I think if you've got young kids, they are definitely something you should invest in getting, even if you're not really planning on watching the screen time with them, even though I definitely think you should, because it's like guilt-free television time. I'd never feel guilty when I put that on, because they know the books, they love the stories, and it's getting their brain working in a less stimulating way than other screen time. So I think they're still quite educational. The screen time, the television stuff and the books, they're really valuable to my boys, and it's so fun at the minute because they're just, honestly, they love Room on the Broom. Like everything, like in Elliot's favourite part, I keep talking about Elliot, but because he's that bit older, his imagination's a lot more advanced than Jasper, my younger son. So everything at the minute, like if Elliot drops something, he'll refer to the bit where they're tumbling into the bog in Room on the Broom. Like, so then when he says that, I will start saying some of the other bits, and he will memorise and he will say it with me, which is really cute. So he was like, down they went tumbling into a bog, and then I will say, the witch's half broomstick, and then he will carry on saying, flew into a cloud, and the witch heard a roar that was scary and loud. And like, it's just a nice way of engaging with your children. Hip
away for Superworm.
Perfect.
Mummy, there.
The chant is carried on the air to...
Yes, Lily.
In his lair, he mutters in his servant's ear, find that worm. Bring him.
Here.
The servant crow is black, and everyone is scared of him. They all let out a fearful shriek to see their hero in his... Hang on then. I've got lipstick on. Hang on. The wizard waves his magic.
Power.
Now, Superworm, you're in my...
Power.
The garden creatures leave their...
Power.
Carrying a...
Helico.
The wizard wakes. This isn't...
Funny.
I'm...
What is the for happy honey?
This is the place, and...
Papa Fab.
The wizard's in the...
What is up?
And I just thought I would recommend them if you haven't already got them, or to even check out the TV versions of them. They're really, really good. And so different one for me today, but I just wanted to shout out the Julia Donaldson books, because they are a really lovely collection to kind of work towards getting with your children, and also I think that they'll go up with them until they're probably like, I don't know, 5, 6, I'm not really sure how, like, so you get a good few years with them. So yeah, we really, really like them, and they're not annoying books to read as a parent. You end up quite enjoying them. You like the characters, and like we're always like quoting the books at the minute, which is really nice. And I just thought I would recommend them for you if you haven't already checked them out. I'm sure you have. Also, another thing to just point out, if you haven't got them, I've spotted things like this in Aldi, down the special buys aisle. They get the like board book size ones, £3 I think they were in Aldi, because I picked some up for Christmas presents, just in case they needed any more. I got a couple more for the children. You can also get them in Smith Toys. They're sometimes on like a 3 for 2 offer, stuff like that. So or if not, I will leave some links to them on Amazon down below, if you just want to like pick them up from Amazon and get your free delivery, whatnot. So yeah, this one, Tabby McTat, I also really like. I'm not sure if I said, and they're making, this is the next one they're adapting into a film this year, so I'm really excited to see that, because I've always liked this one. Even though I'm not really a cat person, I like this story. It's really fun. So yeah, I'm going to stop waffling on now. It's a bit of a random one, but I just thought I would chat about that today, because I haven't got anything else planned for you, and I know a lot of you have got young kids, and it might just, even if you've got the books and maybe you've forgotten about them, it might just remind you to get them out and have a little reader through of them with your toddler or baby. So thank you so much for watching. If you're not subscribed already and you like all mum life content, then please make sure to hit subscribe. Bye.